Morning, my name's Ray. I'm with Team S.T.E.A.M. This morning I'm here at Flash Industrial Painting, but I'm not here to paint anything. It's one of these chairs that you can get everywhere. You get them, you know, any place like Home Depot or any of those places, they all sell those chairs in one form or another. And we're going to go ahead and cut right down into it. Couple swipes in the spots that need it. See, we'll pull that loose. Same thing. So we'll go ahead and continue cutting here. Trying to cut through both of the layers at once. You can do one layer at a time. I'm just trying to get it done, you know. You definitely want to be thinking about where your hands are when you're doing this, though. One slip and you could be without digits. Okay, there's one side. And there we have it. And you see this chair, much like the other chair, has that cap on the end. Get your screwdriver, put it in the this crack, and wedge this open, pull this cap out. Caps come out, you look in the end. Here's our poker. It could be anything. Here's our pliers. We'll go ahead and get a hold of this. Put my foot up there so I can still hold the camera. You can see we're getting it out of there. And what we're left with is this empty channel. And that is what you're going to actually be driving your screws into. That way you know your screws aren't going to be protruding through the bottom side. You're going to use the length of screw that works for the job. You're going to drill your holes first, and then you're going to screw into this channel. I'm going to be continuing this chair project out here. And we're going to run our saw right down here, just to the inside of it. That way we don't have to fuss with any of these nails. And we'll do that down both sides. So we'll take our Sawzall. And we'll free up one board at a time. And another way, if you don't have a Sawzall, is to just put a hammer or a crowbar into the next one and pry it out that way. And you'll take the nails and everything with it, which is fine. Then you can just flip the board over like this one and just knock the nails out. And then you just find a place to put these boards. And so then when you go to pull your nails, what you're going to notice is that pallet nails have this design, and they're ingeniously designed. They don't pull out easy, and that's why you don't see pallets coming apart very often. They're only held together with nails. You'd think you'd see them come apart more often, but you don't. So when you go to pull these, you're going to find, look at that, it just doesn't even want to budge. So instead of sitting there and fighting it, or even going for a crowbar, and worse yet, beating up your wood with whatever's around it too badly, here's a trick. So you put your claw in here, you get a good grip, you bend it sideways. You see it didn't pull out at all, but that'll give you more leverage for the next go around. You get it on there good again, you go back the other way. Then it pulled out some. Then you get it on there, go back the other way. Now it's out. And that's the best way to get these out. They pull out, they're all that way. So you start out that way, then you go back the other way, and that's how you pull those out. These are the boards that are going to be used for this model. They're the ones we ran through the table saw. And these are the ones that we did not run through the table saw. We just cut the ends off of. We're going to be using for this model. Now, what you want to do when you're doing a project like this is the first thing you want to do is clear out a space get it ventilated, and then go ahead and set yourself up a workstation. Don't just tear into it. Get set up with a way to do it production line style if you can, and that'll be your first set of steps. Now, what I've done here is just a set of sawhorses, and you don't have to go buy new lumber for sawhorses. Let's look at these. Look at these notches cut out of those. That's because these were wall studs in an old early 80s cheaply built trailer house. We used it up, and when the time came to get rid of it, we just tore it down and tore all the components out of it, including all the studs out of the walls. And we used them for all sorts of things. Not anything real structural, but they're great for this sort of thing. And that's what all my sawhorses are made out of. All right, so what I've done is I've measured one to roughly the center. They're 44.5 to 45, and I just went 22. And I took the one that's 22 and kept it, put the other one in there, it's ready to go. And I'm just going to keep using this one over and over. Use the same one. Use the first one, the one you know that is accurate, and the same one over and over and over when you're building multiples of something. Because if you keep throwing that away and using the next one, your measurement could be climbing or shrinking for all you know. But it's always going to be the same here. So what I did was I put 8 boards here. And that's going to all get cut by the blade. That's all within the range. And then I put this on them and scooted it all in until it touched the side of the blade. Now I'll hold them all still and cut it, and that's 16 boards produced in one shot. There's 8. There's 16. Now bear in mind, this is for one chair. What are the chances that you're doing just one chair? I mean, most people are going to have at least 2 of these chairs to do. And the vast majority are probably going to have 4 or more to do. And you're basically going to need 2 pallets to do 3 chairs when it's all said and done in this style. And so you have to plan ahead, get your pallets, make sure that there's enough good wood on those pallets, and then assembly line style, as you've seen me do, cut out everything all at once. That way you can just have your workstation, use it, tear it down if you need to, and then be done and move on to the next segment. And so now we're looking to select the correct size of screw. And see, drywall screws, they come in a fairly specific bunch of sizes. See, these are 1 5/8 and these are 2 inch. You're going to find them in those 2 and almost no others that are between the 2. You're not going to find 1 3/4 or anything like that. So what you do is you take your board, and a lot of these pallets are different thicknesses. Mine happen to be very thick. Look at that. You don't normally see pallets that thick. They don't have to be this thick to build a chair, but if you have pallets sitting around that are, why not build furniture out of them? I happen to sandblast for a living, so the pallets of sand that I get are heavy-duty pallets. They're made out of a hardwood, very close-grained hardwood, and they're thick. So I can make anything I want out of them. But anyway, so we put this down here. See that channel? That's what we're screwing into. Not that channel, that channel. So you want to measure and make sure that your screw is going to go through that channel and not completely into the bottom one. And so what you're going to need for this job, you don't need to have all these tools. You don't need to own all these tools. All you need is one of them. I just happen to have a few of them sitting around, so that's what I'm doing. That way I don't have to keep switching out bits. Now see the difference? The drill bit is smaller than the shank of the screw itself, the center part of the screw itself. And over here, the drill bit is bigger than the screw. And so if we have them both loaded up, we'll use the bigger one to go through the wood so we don't split the wood out later, and the smaller one to go through the steel so the screws have something to actually grip. And so you can use drywall screws and not have to buy self-tapping screws. Now, I'm going to use air power, a DA sander, and something probably aggressive enough as 120 grit. But I understand that a lot of people watching this don't have that. They don't have the shop. They don't have a air compressor. They don't have an air compressor big enough to run a DA sander, or maybe even just a DA sander. I understand that. But I do have a body shop, and I do need to get the show on the road. I got 100 things I'm doing today alone, so that's why I'm using one. I'm not recommending you go out and buy one for this job. There's a lot of different ways of doing this. I'll show you right here. You can just use your hand. Get some sandpaper that comes in any form, in the square form that's the size of a sheet of normal paper, or any of these kind of forms, or whatever you can find at your local hardware store that seems to work for you. But if you can get your hands on a block like this, I've got a dozen of these around the shop, then, and I use the Velcro style, then they'll just adhere to it. Regular 6-inch paper goes right on this block. And then you can just sand with it all day long. Keeps it nice and flat. I'm going to use a DA because I need to stay moving here. But I'm going to get these sanded, then get the next batch up here and get them sanded, and get to where we can put this thing together. You know, the best way that you're going to be able to do this project, or any other household project, or any other mechanical project, or automotive project, or auto body project, anything like that, and keep your wits about you and keep your patience, and not have it be so long-winded and disastrous that by the time it's over, all you want to do is never do that again. The first thing you need to always think of is your organization, your workspace, and getting tables and stations set up. Every time. It takes a little bit of time, but it makes it so much easier once you do. So now we've shifted gears, and this is a workstation we've had set up for a few of these steps. We still have the other ones. That, like I said, super easy, just sawhorses, and this is some old, what's known as hardboard, or I don't remember what the name, it's not masonite, but it's compressed board siding is all it is. And old, off of some project. We pulled it off of a house and replaced it, and this is just some of the old stuff that was straighter and decent enough, and I just keep it aside for these little makeshift tables. So this has cost me nothing. Again, we've got the used studs, boards that would have been thrown in the garbage anyway, pallet that would have been thrown in the garbage anyway. I've just bought some other new products like screws and you know, some wood protector. And here I'm not recommending any brand. I've never had all that good of luck with most wood protectors, so I try a different one about every time. So I'm not saying that's the best. That's just the one I'm trying this time, is what was at my store. The one thing you do want to keep in mind is you want to go either water or oil. Don't go mixing the two. If you go oil first, you have to stay oil. Anything you cover with it won't stick to it, besides more oil. But if you go water first, then yeah, you can go oil later, but once you go oil, you can't go back. So make your decision there if it's going to be oil or if it's going to be water. Other than that, you know, I'm not afraid to try new products.